Hey guys, this is Sheen, and I don't usually make intros, but I'm doing this anyways because I am trying out something new. So recently, and by recently I think about 3 or 4 days ago, there was a influencer, can I call her influencer? I guess a creator named Lauren, who is a vegan, made a very interesting post on Twitter that I want to go through it with you guys. Now, full disclosure, I am vegan and I don't fucking stand for what she says here. I think what she's saying here is wrong. And it's not just wrong. I mean, if that was the case, I would just let it go. But it's wrong in a very interesting way that I want to explore. Also, I just want to mention right here that I am going to be really mean towards Lauren in this video. And that's because I think she is very cringy. I feel that in-group cringe really hard. So I am going to be really mean towards Lauren, but that doesn't mean that I don't think that she is coming from the right place. I do believe that her intentions are pure. And no, I don't think she is racist. I think her intentions are pure. I just think that okay. Let's just look at this Twitter post that she made. She posted a video which had over 2 million views. Under this caption, she says, "The fight to end oppression for animals is the same fight to end the oppression of Black people. All sentient beings deserve to live. #BLM. Oh my god." And the video that she posted, I can't play it for you guys here because it has copyrighted music. So I'm just going to let Philip DeFranco say what she said in that video. Okay, thanks Phil. Here's what she says.
In the video she says, "I feel like this needs to be said, and I really wish more people would connect these two dots, but Black Lives Matter and animal lives matter. Literally all sentient beings on this planet deserve a life free from fear. So stop killing Black people and stop killing animals. Veganism, Black Lives Matter, it's all the same fight."
No, Lauren, no, they're not the same fight. What do you mean by that, Lauren? What do you mean when you say they are all the same fight? Pigs don't face police brutality, Lauren. Do you actually think that Black pigs face police... No, it's Black people who face police brutality. And no, they're not the same system. It's not all the same fight. And I see why people might think of you as being racist when you say this. Because here we're having a conversation about Black people and police brutality, and you're like, well, what about other sentient beings? What about pigs? What about these other living things? It's like, no, that's not what we're talking about here. It is exactly the same as people saying, well, what about white lives? Don't white lives matter? What about all lives? Don't all lives matter? Or when we're talking about Black Lives Matter. When people are bringing awareness to breast cancer, other people don't get to turn around and say, well, what about prostate cancer? When people are talking about Black Lives Matter, other people don't get to turn around and say, well, what about white people? No, you don't get to do that. When people are talking about Black Lives Matter, you don't get to turn around and say, well, what about other living beings? Don't they deserve to live? No! What the fuck are you doing here, Lauren? Oh my god. You don't get to do that. You don't get to do that. And people who say, well, what about white lives? Don't white lives matter? And what about all lives? Don't all lives matter? Are usually racist. Because yeah, technically speaking, those people are right when they say white lives matter. Yeah, sure, I guess, yeah. And all lives matter, yeah. And all sentient lives matter, yeah, sure, Lauren. All sentient lives do matter. But when you do that, when you say that, what you're doing is you're diverting the attention away from Black Lives Matter and police brutality faced by mostly Black people. And that's the issue that we're talking about here. Except in that case, people who say, well, what about white lives? Don't white lives matter? those racists are actually comparing people to other people, black people to white people and black people to other people. And here you seem to be comparing black people to animals. Lauren, what are you doing, Lauren? Stop it, Lauren. Please stop. And by the way, no, I don't think that she is consciously being a racist right here. I just think she's too privileged to recognize that what she is saying right here comes across as very racist. And also, it's not all the same fight because there's a sentience hierarchy that Lauren doesn't seem to get. Black people are, human beings, and pigs are, pigs. And yeah, pigs are adorable little creatures, I know. But there is a sentience hierarchy, and humans are at the top of that sentience hierarchy. We, as vegans, should care more about human beings than animals. That's not to say that we shouldn't care about animals, but because of that sentience hierarchy, we should care about human beings more. Like, I'm pretty sure every vegan would agree with this, that if you had the choice to save, say for example, on one side we have a human being and on the other side you have a pig, and you could only save one of them has to be killed. So who are you going to save? The answer is obvious, right? The human being. Why? Because the human being has more value. That's not to say that pigs are not sentient or that they don't matter. They do. But just when we talk about sentience, humans are at the top of that hierarchy. At least at the time that I'm recording this. Now, she has taken down that video. And she has posted this on her Twitter. And she says, "Let me say it again. I am a vegan fighting for the end of oppression to all living beings on this planet. I fully support the Black Lives Matter movement and any movement that seeks to do the same." Now, technically speaking, every single statement that she has made in this tweet, I agree with. But here we're talking about Black Lives Matter. Why do you have to bring the fact that you're vegan into this, or the fact that you're fighting to end the oppression to all living beings into this when we're just talking about Black Lives Matter and police brutality? Why? Anyways, so she had posted this kind of apology. This is a 5-minute long video, I believe. This is the first part, and she posted this video under the caption #Black Lives Matter, #Go Vegan. Anyways, let's take a look at this.
This video might be a little long, but please stay till the end. I promise that it's important. Yesterday, I learned an important lesson, that words matter. Not just my intention, but the way that I frame statements and the timing of those statements really matter.
By the way, I'm just going to stop right here. Her bun looks amazing, and I'm jealous, okay? As someone who can't even do the basic hairstyles that you would expect a girl to do, I respect that. Anyways, let's continue.
I posted a video in which some people believed that I was dehumanizing Black people or comparing Black people to animals, two things that I would never do. I have appreciated all of the feedback from everyone. I didn't quite string my words together the right way or the way that I wanted, so I want to be clear on this statement. I am a vegan who is fighting for the end of oppression of all living beings on this planet. I fully support the Black Lives Matter movement and any other movement that seeks to do the same. I understand that my support online probably isn't wanted by some of the people watching this video, and that's okay. My video hit over 2 million views on Twitter last night. Since I have your attention, I'd like to refocus my message and share this. If you care about the Black Lives Matter movement, as you should, as we all should, please continue to fight for the end of police brutality and racism in major cities like Minneapolis, Philadelphia, New York, Chicago, the list goes on.
Well, I'm going to pause right here and say that this isn't that bad, this is not that bad. But I know it's gonna go downhill from here, so yeah.
But when the news cameras have gone, and the signs have been packed up, and peaceful protests have stopped in the streets, I offer an idea for a different path. We need to keep this fight against racism alive and bring it to rural areas like North Carolina. In North Carolina, for example, CAFOs, also known as factory farms, are concentrated the most in rural communities of color. North Carolina's pork industry produces around 10 billion gallons of waste. That's 15,000 Olympic-sized swimming pool of literal pig poop every year. This waste is then sprayed into the air, making it impossible for the Black and Latino communities to do things that I take for granted, like opening a window when I want fresh air, or sitting on a patio. This disregard for the lives in those Black and Latino communities is rampant across all rural communities that house factory farms and plants. The air pollutants from animal waste sprayed into the air cause stress, anxiety, mucous membrane irritation, respiratory conditions, reduced lung function, acute blood pressure elevation, seizures, coma, and eventually death. Smithfield Pork, the largest producer of pork in the world, lost the lawsuit brought on by these communities, but nothing changed. They still have been allowed to continue business as usual pre-COVID-19 and will likely do so again. But the systematic racism and classism doesn't stop there. Disenfranchised Black and Latino workers make little more than minimum wage at the plants where the dead animals are processed to be delivered to grocery stores and fast food restaurants in your town and your city. In rural Georgia at the Tyson chicken plant, where a Black woman named Annie Grant worked for 15 years, coronavirus spread quickly and mercilessly. She felt sick, but they told her to return to work with no regard for her safety, the safety of her family, or the safety of other workers around her. She died on a ventilator a week later. She wasn't the only one. Many other people have died at that plant and at plants all around the country that produce animal products. The Tyson plant didn't care about Black employees' lives. They're just cogs in a machine to them, a machine that makes billions of dollars a year. They didn't care about Annie Grant's life the same way that cop didn't care about George Floyd's. The rampant, systematic oppression and racism goes hand in hand with police brutality.
Now, this is the interesting part. This is the reason why I'm making this video, because what she's saying here is very interesting to me. Now, technically speaking, every single statement that she has made is factually true. She is correct in everything that she has said, but still, I believe that she is wrong. How so? That's the question. That's the interesting part. That's why I'm making this video. Okay, now, did you know that coronavirus is actually spreading faster among people who work in slaughterhouses and other jobs? Did you know that that's the case? It's true, that is the case. Slaughterhouses are a breeding ground for coronavirus because for people who are working in those industries, social distancing is largely impossible. She is right on that. And guess who is working in those plants? You got it right. Mostly Black people and people of color. Why, you might ask? Because poor people are more likely to have those jobs. And guess who's more likely to be poor? You got it. Largely Black people and people of color. And why is that the case? Because of historical reasons like slavery. So what she is saying here, those statements are factually true. However, it is still wrong to bring intersectional analysis when we're talking about a specific issue here, police brutality. It is wrong to bring that analysis when we're just talking about a specific issue. I know these two things, the fact that Black people and people of color are more likely to have those jobs, and let's be real, those are not pleasant jobs by any stretch of the imagination. And that if we are able to stop factory farming and reduce the amount of meat that's consumed every year by, I don't know, like going vegan, I know those two things might seem very much connected, but it's wrong to bring that analysis when we're just talking about police brutality and how Black people, are treated in the judicial system. It's just wrong. At least I think it's wrong. Like in the same way, this is perfect. This is so perfect. Okay, I have seen videos of 18-year-old edgy white boys who call themselves anarchists, who are all like, fuck the system, man. for capitalism and trying to make these protests that are about police brutality about capitalism. I have seen those videos, and they're usually from college kids who are too edgy. And from their point of view, they see that the fact that Black people have been oppressed for so long is very much entangled with capitalism. Like I've said before, Black people are more likely to be poor, and that is reinforced by capitalism. I just want to say I'm not an anarchist or anything, just saying. But from their point of view, that's what they see. And they are right on that. However, it is wrong to bring intersectional analysis to a protest. However much these two issues might intersect, and yeah, they might intersect so beautifully, and you might see so many connections. Yeah, I know, but it's still wrong to bring that analysis to a fucking protest. These protests and riots going on, they're not about capitalism. They're about police brutality. These riots and protests, they're not about capitalism. Don't make it about something that it's not about. It is wrong to bring that analysis to a protest. Unless it has been agreed upon by people who are protesting. Then I think it's completely fine. But here it's clear that that's not the case. So that thing about edgy 18-year-old white boys, that is similar to what Lauren is doing here. Except she's not taking this to the protest, she's just discussing this. And I think that that's still wrong to bring that a discussion when that's not the discussion that we're having. So yeah, let's continue watching the video. There's just like 30 seconds left, so yeah.
Every time you pick up a burger with bacon or a chicken sandwich, as many people commented on my last video that they were going to, understand where your meal came from. It came at the cost of an animal's life, yes, but it also came at the cost of a Black person's life too.
No, Lauren, no. No, Lauren. Just because you have bought a chicken sandwich, that doesn't mean that you're now responsible for a Black person's murder, Lauren. No. I hate that vegans don't understand this. I hate it. There is degrees of separation here. Let me give you guys an example. Like for instance, I'm pretty sure that the mic that I'm speaking through you right now and the laptop that I'm using to record this, I'm pretty sure that there was a kid in Africa or somewhere who was a slave in this modern age and who died while making this computer or this mic or something similar, I'm pretty sure that has happened. I just am. But that doesn't mean that just because I had decided to buy this laptop and buy this microphone, that I'm now somehow responsible for a child's murder. I am not. I am not responsible for that. Just because you might buy a chicken sandwich, that doesn't mean that you're responsible for a Black person's death that happened because they were forced to work even though they shouldn't have been. Just because you bought that chicken sandwich, that doesn't mean that you're now responsible for that person's death. You're not. And do you know why? Because there's degrees of separation here. There's a whole system that is outside of my control, which oppresses those children who are working in slavery right now, and which incentivizes me to buy this laptop because I can't, it's not possible for me to live in this digital age without a laptop, at least. It's just not possible. It's not possible for me to get any work done. It's just not. You guys get it. And this system that produces electronics is similar to the system that produces meat and other animal products. There is a whole system which inhumanely treats human beings and animals, and which financially incentivizes people who are largely middle class and poor people to buy these products, which is not under control of one single individual. Vegans seem to place quite a bit of individual responsibility on the individual, and the individual is responsible, at least to some extent, but vegans don't seem to recognize that there is that whole system which is in place, and don't seem to understand that there is degrees of separation. Now I guess I'm just going to play the entire clip. There's just like 10 seconds left or so. So yeah.
And it continues to silently kill black people and people of color all around this country. Slow and steady. So if Black Lives Matters to you, as they should, as they do to me, then you need to join in this fight. You need to rise up and keep donating to black businesses. Keep donating to bail funds in cities around this country. And stop giving your dollars to businesses like Tyson and Smithfield and the people that buy from them that have no regard for the lives of black people.
By the way, that last phrase was just a code word for go vegan. So yeah. Like I've said before, it is wrong to bring that intersectional analysis when we're just talking about police brutality. It's wrong to bring that discussion when that's not what we're focusing on. It's just wrong, at least in my eyes. Like it is wrong for an anti-capitalist to bring up capitalism when we're just talking about police brutality. It's just wrong, at least in my opinion. I think it's wrong. That discussion sure has its place, but its place is not here. That's what I'm saying. Also, I could make a couple of more arguments, if you're not convinced by the previous ones, to not bring up veganism when we're just talking about Black Lives Matter. These two arguments are more pragmatic arguments. The short-term argument is this: when you, as a vegan, bring up veganism when we're talking about Black Lives Matter, optically speaking, it looks really bad. It looks like you're comparing black lives to animal lives, and that is not a good look, my darling. And that alone alienates people of color and black people from veganism. And we shouldn't really do that. Not to say that even white people might look at that and cringe when you do that. Those were the two leftover arguments of why you shouldn't bring up veganism when we're talking about Black Lives Matter. And by the way, this thing about vegans bringing up veganism when we're talking about Black Lives Matter, this has been a repeated theme among the vegan community. I found a video which was made 3 years ago about this, about how that's a problem. And also recently, there has been a vegan company, Vegan Cuts, which is like a vegan subscription company, which made an All Lives Matter post on Instagram. And they got quite a bit of backlash from it. So yeah, it's not a new thing and it's still an ongoing thing. By the way, the CEO of that company has said that they're sorry about it and they're actually answering questions. If you have some questions about why the fuck did they do that, you can go to the Instagram and the CEO himself is actually answering some of the questions. So yeah, I do believe that that was just a genuine mistake that happened. I don't think it was malicious at all. I know that people who are using that hashtag on Twitter, they're using it to divert attention away from Black Lives Matter. But here in this case, I do think that this was just an honest mistake that happened. But still, that shows that this is still an ongoing thing, and I hope that vegans would stop bringing up veganism when we're talking about Black Lives Matter. And by the way, PETA, I hate PETA, but in this case, PETA isn't actually that bad. What they're doing on their Twitter, at least, is they're saying that, hey, if you are vegan, you should support Black Lives Matter. And that is, that's a good argument. Yeah, if you're vegan and you think that all sentient beings matter, then you should definitely support Black Lives Matter movement. And that argument that PETA is making is the complete opposite of what Lauren is making. Lauren is saying that if you support Black Lives Matter, you should go vegan. That's the argument that she was making. And what PETA is doing is the opposite of that. PETA is saying that, hey, if you're vegan, you should support Black Lives Matter. And I think that's a reasonable argument. But then PETA also has these photos of protesters who are wearing masks saying go vegan, and they are at a Black Lives Matter protest, and it's like, why? But at least the tweets that they have made don't seem to be that problematic, at least. Damn, you know when you're wrong? When even PETA looks better than you. And by the way, there is a Medium article that was written about this, and Lauren has said that she appreciates that Medium article. So yeah, I hope that she learned a little bit, and I hope that she doesn't do that again. So yeah. That's all that I have for this video. Like this video if you liked it. Comment your thoughts down below about what you think. Subscribe for more videos. And yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful day today. And please do not touch your face. And if you're gonna go and protest, stay safe.